All right, we're going to get this next speaker underway, so if we could start to quiet down and give our attention to Chris Pritchard. He's been conducting ever more security tests and audits of the ICS in the rail, air, maritime, and utility sectors, as well as C&I work at nuclear sites. His skills also include social engineering, and he successfully gained access into C&I, airports, and casinos, which are regarded as some of the most secure facilities in the industry. We're going to give our attention now to Chris, the basics of social engineering, aka how I break into casinos, airports, and C&I.
Here you go. Cool. Thank you very much. Wow. Hello, DEF CON. How awesome is this? So, as I mentioned, my name's Chris, and for those of you who think I'm Australian, I'm not. I'm British. I know I don't know the Queen, which is a very common question that I get asked as soon as I tell people I'm British. So, I'm going to talk about the basics of social engineering. This is for people who want to get into social engineering, but think that they must know everything about body language, facial expressions. You don't. So here are some things that I have learned through my experience, and these tips have got me into some places that you really should not be in. So casinos, airports, should not be breaking into airports. I can, and you can do it too. With permission. So, just quickly some terminology, just in case you're unaware of some of these phrases. SE, obviously, we wouldn't be here if we didn't know that one, but I'm going to put it out there just in case. C&I stands for critical national infrastructure. That is airports, but also nuclear power plants, water treatment works, things along that level. Things that the government tends to protect quite crucially. OSINT, open source intelligence, that's obviously, as we know, using things like Google, Street View, etc., to find information normally about our target. Pretext. Now, this is the Wikipedia definition, but basically this is the lie. This is the story you're going to tell somebody about why you were there. And the last one, NDA, non-disclosure agreements, if we get to the point, because my timing is a bit tight, but if we get to the point where there's some questions, if I say no comment, it's because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement and I can't talk about that specific thing. So, step one, reconnaissance, doing your homework. So the first thing I always do is perform open source intelligence. I look at Google, I look at Street View, I look at their website, I look at social media, anything that is going to help me understand what this company looks like, how they dress, what their sort of ethos, culture is. That's really, really useful. It really, really helps you. The next thing I suggest you doing is actually go there. Go to the place, go to that target, that thing that you want to get into, and walk around it. Walk around and look for weaknesses. And there are going to be weaknesses, I guarantee it. So common weaknesses that I tend to look out for, back entrances. Most security is built around people coming in the front entrance. It's not built around people coming in the back entrance. So that's a great place to go. Smoking shed. Now, I gave up smoking 20 odd years ago, but I bought a vape machine just so I can go and stand in a smoking shed and build a rapport with people and talk to people. And it's so easy when you're in that position to then walk back into the building with them because you're a part of them. You're a smoker. So that's a good one to go to. Shared offices are interesting. So in bigger cities, if you get a high-rise building, what often happens is the place that you are trying to get into is probably on one very specific floor. Now, it's very, very careful and very, very important that you don't go to the wrong one, because your get-out-of-jail-free letter, if you have one, probably doesn't cover the other offices. So take a note of which office you're actually trying to get into and what floor they're on. Again, really, really important. And the great thing about these big sort of offices is they often have this sort of communal reception area. That is great. Go and sit in there for a good couple of hours, take a laptop or something, pretend you're working, and just sit there and observe what's going on. Look around And some really, really important things to note from that when you're in there is, what are the staff wearing? Now, if you're going to try and sort of tailgate in and appear like you should be there and are one of them, you need to match that. So take a note of that. What are they wearing? Are they wearing really smart office wear? Are they wearing smart casual, just like a shirt with no tie, for example? Or are they wearing jeans and t-shirt? If you're doing that thing and you want to get in there looking like that, you need to take a note of that. So the other thing that I think is really interesting, when are the busy times? When are the busy entry and exit times? If you want to tailgate in, you want to tailgate in when it's busy. There's no point tailgating in when it's quiet. But conversely, if you've seen a weakness somewhere in a back door, a back entrance somewhere, and you think you can do some kind of door bypass, the best time to go and do that is when it's quiet, because you're less likely to get caught. So take a note of that sort of stuff. Really useful. The other thing, what else do you notice? How are they wearing their ID badges, for example? Are they portrait, landscape? What colour are they? What colour are the lanyards themselves? Do they have metal pins on the lanyard? Anything that's similar that you can make look the same, do it. What I found is eventually that you end up with a collection, and I can tell you that this blue lanyard with, as you can see, a blank ID badge, but with some metal jangly bits on, that's what got me into an airport, because that's what they were wearing. Yeah. The other fun thing is you often end up with a bit of a collection of lanyards like this after a time. Don't wear them all at once, that's a bit obvious. So, before you do the entry and after you've done this reconnaissance, construct this pretext, construct this lie that you're going to use as your story. But, crucially, fit it around what you know. Now, I come from an IT support background, so I often pretend I'm an IT network engineer because I know that stuff. And if people challenge me about it, I know how to talk IT network stuff. I don't know how to talk alarm information, so I don't pretend I'm an alarm engineer. So, fit that pretext around your knowledge, because what you want is, if you're challenged, you want that information to come from your conscious. You don't want to have to think about it from your subconscious, because you will end up going, I'm here to fix the alarm. That's not what you want. Hey, I'm here to fix the IT. I believe you've got some internet issues, it's going slow. Oh yeah, just let me plug in here. Let me log onto your browser. Let me go to this website. You know that stuff. So fit that pretext around your knowledge. It will help you. It'll make you feel better about it. Because they say if you shroud a story in part truth, it becomes believable. Not believable just to you, but to the person that you're telling it to as well. So the other thing, get your outfit. If you are going to pretend to be an alarm engineer, dress like an alarm engineer. If you're going to pretend to be a construction worker, dress like a construction worker. Obviously, that's all pretext dependent. But yeah, you want to match it. And again, that's where that OSINT and where sitting in that reception comes in really, really handy. You've noted all that stuff down, go out, buy the things, match it. You want to look like them. You want to look like the person or the building that you're trying to get into, match it. Also, if you are going to be an alarm engineer, you need some alarm engineer stuff. I don't know what alarm engineer people carry, but I'm guessing they carry some kind of box with some tools in it. If I'm going to be an IT system network engineer, I'm going to bring a laptop. Who turns up to fix an IT problem without a laptop and maybe a Cat5 cable? So, think about what you're going to do there and what this pretext is going to be, and bring some props. Because again, props help you reinforce that idea of you should be there. So, gates. Gates are interesting. We often see gates day to day. And when we're trying to do SEO, we're trying to gain access to a building, they're often seen as a barrier. But they can also be a weakness as well. So here's a gate that I saw. And now this is not a very clear picture, I appreciate that. But the white window that you can see there is the security office. And the security office, that is their side window. And they were looking out the front. They were not looking out at the side. Now, that barrier is, well, frankly, pathetic. And most people can either step over it or underneath it. But what was worse about it, and I've got another example here, there was a massive gap at the end. There's a gap between the wall and the end of the barrier that you could actually just sort of walk around it like that. Okay, so that's a weakness. The next one. So we call this the long man technique. You'll have to excuse the quality of the pictures. This was actually taken from a video, but I couldn't redact company names easily enough from the video, so I had to take stills from that. So here's my colleague, James. He is swiping in. He's bent down. He's swiping into this gate, and then you see me coming in, and I'm not bent down, and I'm not swiping into that gate. And then what I only noticed the other day, it's not amazingly clear on this picture, there's a cleaner in the far corner and she stood there like this. I only noticed this the other day when I looked at this picture. Anyway, so anybody notice anything odd about how I've walked in there? Bearing in mind this is called the long man technique. Shout it out. Tailgating. I am tailgating, yeah, but I'm tricking the gate system. And I've put a laptop bag directly behind James, and I've tricked the system into thinking there is someone still there, i.e. a long man. And that is an easy way to get in. The number of times I've done that and been successful is unbelievable. So don't see gates as a hard and fast barrier. There are ways around them. They are a weakness in some cases. So you got in. What are you going to do now? So my first tip is actually keep calm. Because you are going to have this massive adrenaline buzz going, oh my God, I'm in! Ah! And if you have that adrenaline buzz, you're going to give yourself away because somebody is going to go, he looks really funny. So, keep calm. Now, you did some OSINT, you walked around the building, relate that location to where you are and think about it. Now, bear in mind, and I've been caught out with this before, those maps that you see aren't always accurate. So, just think about it as a skeleton, if you like. The next thing I'd say, once you're in there, is be observant. We as human beings are terrible at noting things, and especially if we're buzzing on adrenaline from having just successfully gained entry into somewhere we definitely shouldn't be. So I look out for things like this, exit signs, and I look for toilet signs. And I suggest you do the same, because hiding in a toilet is brilliant. A colleague of mine has actually printed out a laminated sign with sticky tape on the back of it that says out of order, and he goes and hides in the toilet for a good 20 to 30 minutes. And that is a brilliant thing to do because all that adrenaline comes out of you. You have a little bit of an adrenaline crash maybe, but you then become calm and you are not acting on adrenaline, which is going to mess things up if you do have to interact with people. So go and hide in those toilets. Think about where those exits are, and also think about how those exits work. Are they push-button exits, i.e. can I just escape if I need to? Or are they swipe card controlled? And in that case, I might probably either have to find some swipe cards on people's desks, get one for myself, or tailgate somebody out again. Again, really important information. Some more things to think about when you're in there. What's the target? What have you been told by your client to do? Now, 9 times out of 10, it's plug into the network, hack shit up, walk out. Cool. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's, I want you to go and get a red folder from the finance department. That is our company results. Get out with those. That's it. Job done. Think about that target and how you're going to get from where you are now, hopefully in the toilets hiding, to where that thing potentially is. And this has been mentioned already. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, I can tell you about a casino that I broke into in the UK. I saw somebody going in. It wasn't a swipe. Sorry, it was a swipe-controlled door, but you couldn't easily tailgate because you needed a swipe and a PIN number. So I saw this person approaching the door, and I said, "Hi, I'm from the other office, and I'm Leon from the IT network team. My badge doesn't work on this particular door. Would you mind helping me in?" "Oh, yeah, fine, no problem." Boom, I'm in. Now, in this particular case, the target was to appear at the client's desk. So I walked in and I went, "Hi, Matt, I'm here." And he went, "Oh." And he said, "Okay, how'd you get in?" I said, "I asked somebody for some help and they let me in." Yes. My expensive social engineering training program that he's paid for is working out great. Yeah, it sure is. And he said to me, "Okay, we need to go and have a little walk around, and you need to point out who let you in." I was like, I'm a bit uncomfortable doing that. I don't like the name and blame game. But okay, we'll do it, because it's obviously either that person's not looking at your training program or something's gone wrong. So we walked around with some coffee cups. We got back to his desk, and he said, "Right, so who was it? Who was the person that let you in?" I said, "Oh, it's that lady over there in the blue spotty dress." I said, "What's the matter?" "That's our HR director." "Okay, good. So that's working well for you then." The other thing I'd suggest is if you get to a desk and you're sat there and you're on the network, or you go into a tea and coffee area, engage in polite conversation. Now, I've put very clearly in there, don't make them your best friend. You don't need to make it to that level of conversation. But engage in polite conversation. You were supposed to work there. So you're supposed to talk to your normal work colleagues as an everyday thing. So talk to people. Talk about, if someone's talking about their holidays or vacations or whatever, engage in that conversation. Because it's really, really helpful. And I'll explain it. So this is a Chris Hagnaghi saying. If you've read his book, you'll see this in there somewhere. Always leave people feeling better for having met you. And that's really, really useful because, and again, I'll give you a little story. One airport I went into, I got into the office and I saw at the far end, there was a lady sat there who was obviously a lady of power. She was somebody serious, bigwig in this company. And I sort of purposely walked around a bit sort of lost like this. And I'd already noticed that each of the desks had individual numbers on. I got to this lady and I said, "I'm really sorry, I'm looking for desk 149. Can you help me?" "Oh, yeah, hold on a minute." And she got up and she's running around like this, going, "I found desk 149. Here you go, here it is. Brilliant, thanks very much." Plugged in, network stuff. Great. Started talking to her, engaged in polite conversation. But what that meant was that everybody around thought that I should be there because I was talking to this lady of power. And it turned out she was a PA to someone really, really high within this organization. And from that, you can come back to that person because they're like a focal point. And you can come back to them and go, "Hi, lady in power. I really need some help with something else." And you can return back to that new friend of yours. But also, if you are talking to somebody in power like that, it builds acceptance that you should be there. And you shouldn't be there, but talking to someone like that makes it think that you should be there. I'm going to talk about one piece of psychology-related advice, and I wanted to stay away from this, but I think this is really, really important. So there's something in psychology called don't negate the frame. Some of you will have heard about this. So if I say to this entire room, "Hey, nobody think about pink elephants," all right? Don't do it. Don't think about pink elephants. Everyone starts thinking about pink elephants. Why is that relevant? If I went to this lady of power and said, "Hi, it's Leon from the IT network team. I just need to plug into this network and sort your internet out. Don't worry, I'm not here to hack the network." What's the first thing that person is going to be thinking? Yeah, exactly. So, don't talk about things in a negative way like that. Think about it in positive. "Hi, it's Leon from the IT network team here. I'm just going to sort out your internet. It's going a bit slow. I'm going to make it faster for you." It's a positive thing. She's going to help me. If I say I'm not going to have a network, she's going to think that. So think about it and talk about it and spin it in a positive way. So you've got in. What else do you need to know? So I call this the fear. All of us have this inner voice. And we all say things like, oh, Chris, you're going to go to DEF CON, you're going to talk on the SE village, and you're going to be like really nervous. And it's your inner brain. Your inner voice is going and building all these bad, negative things in there. Don't listen to it. When I did the first airport, I thought really, really carefully about where I should position my get out of jail free letter. I was wearing a suit and tie, and originally I thought, I know, if I put my get out of jail free letter just here, in a sort of suit jacket pocket, that'll be a good place because it's easy to reach. And then I thought, hold on a minute, what kind of people protect airports? Oh, people with guns. Right, I probably can't expense a body armor of any description, a bulletproof vest of any description. And if I get stopped by police with guns and I have a letter that's in here and I go to reach for it when people with guns are pointing at me, that's probably not a good place to put it. But it was just this inner voice. It was just this fear building up in your brain going, this is a bad thing, this is a bad thing. It's not. Ignore that inner voice, override it, and just say, it's fine, I'm going to be okay. I'm here to do a job, it's going to be fine. The other thing I'd say, once you first start doing this, and in fact, even to this day, I still get this, nerves are natural. Don't worry about it. You are going to be nervous. Go and hide in that toilet. Calm down. It's absolutely fine. Now, I appreciate I'm probably speaking to a massive room full of hackers, but I don't know, when I first started doing SE, I had real ethics problems because my mum and my dad had always told me not to break into buildings. If you do have those ethic problems, you might not. Just tell yourself you're acting, and it makes it okay. Ish, yeah. And the other thing that I don't think gets talked about enough is exhausting. If you are on an SE job for an entire day, the adrenaline ups and downs and the crashes, pretending to be somebody else, trying to hack the network for an entire day or whatever it is you're doing is absolutely exhausting. You will be so tired at the end of it. One of the jobs I did it for a day. The drive home at the end of the day was a 4-hour drive. Now in the UK, 4 hours is quite a long way. Appreciate it's not quite so long in the US, and people like going long distances. But for me, that was exhausting. I should not have stayed there and done a 4-hour drive. And at some point, what I did is I pulled over into services and I slept like a baby for 2 hours. So it's exhausting. Think about that. When you're building that into your scoping or your job's timings, think about how tired you're going to be at the end of that day. Some other things, just some stuff to help you improve a little bit. Read some books. Chris Voss is a FBI negotiator, and he's written a book called Never Split Difference, and that is about negotiating. That's a good skill to have when you're doing this. Olivia Fox-Cobain, Charisma Myth, really, really useful. If you are an introvert as well, this is a great book for helping you do SE. Ian Mann, another UK SE guy, very, very useful book to read. Can't come really here without mentioning this book, otherwise I'll get shot. And then when you start getting into the point where you're interested in body language, I'd start here. This is a really good book as well. And the other thing I'd say is practice. Get your company to get you involved in these kind of tests. You're going to fail at some point. Don't worry. Treat it as practice. And that's it. I want to say thank you very much to the community. And I believe it's the thing that you have to have a cat selfie picture, so I put a cat selfie picture. But this is me on Twitter. If you want to hit me up for some more questions or ask more information, please do. Thank you very much.